The Orlando Magic get their first taste of playoff heartbreak. What we learned about the team in the clutch when they needed to get a win, and what we learned about the team overall in a game the Magic should have won. We'll get to all that on today's episode of Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is May 1st, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the mistakes that cost the Orlando Magic Game 5. From the big to the small to the season long to the just for tonight. We're going to get into everything about this game, what the Magic can learn from it, and why they're still in good shape heading into Game 6. We're going to get to all that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day, no matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload. We truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. Remember this great Locked On podcast covering every single team in the NBA. Just search for Locked On and the team you're looking for. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started today. I want to start here. And I think we're going to talk. I tease that we're going to talk why the Magic can win Game 6, but I think we'll save that for tomorrow. I thought that Joe Ingles, you did not see at the podium, so this is just between you and me here. We spoke to Joe Ingles in the locker room after the Orlando Magic's 104-103 loss. And our good friend Jamie Say from WKMG in Orlando, not here in Orlando because I'm in Cleveland, but our friend Jamie Say from WKMG asked, this team is pretty young. What are kind of the lessons that you're learning from this? Or how important is this experience, for someone who's been through so many of these playoff battles, for this team to go through a playoff battle like this? And Joe Ingles initially kind of scoffed in the most Joe Ingles way. It's very friendly. Saying, I'm kind of annoyed by this. I've been kind of annoyed by it from the middle of the year, and I'm certainly annoyed by it now. We're not that young anymore. Yes, this team has never been through a playoff series before, never been through a playoff pressure before, but they've been through a lot. And they've shown that they're capable of winning, and they're shown that they're capable of winning. And of course, the Oklahoma City Thunder, a very young team as well, is the number one seed in the Western Conference and swept their way into the second round. I think that is a great perspective to look at things. And I do think that there is something to that. That maybe we in the media, and that includes myself, have made a lot about how young this team is and what that could mean. And frankly, maybe lowered our expectations for this team because of it. But let me say this, though. The mistakes the Magic made through Game 5, they were not mistakes because the lights were too big. We're not Jared Allen here. The lights are not too big for this team. They are capable of winning these games. But the mistakes they are making are the mistakes of a team that hasn't dealt with this pressure, that hasn't dealt with the detail and the minute little things that cost you, that decide these playoff games. You could probably, go back to yesterday's episode in my chat with Chris Manning. He was very skeptical of this Cavs team, and I was very optimistic about the Magic. But I still said to him, the close game is coming. And the team that wins that close game is probably going to be the one that wins the series, because we don't know how the Magic would handle this. And I said to him at the time, the Magic have never really come from behind. They've never really had to make up a deficit to win a game late. And it's here where you really start to see the Magic's youth and inexperience come out. Because the Magic were in this game. This was a back and forth game with two teams making shots, making plays, and matching each other shot for shot. All credit to Paolo Banchero. 39 points, playoff career high. That dude is a primetime performer. If we exit the playoffs thinking anything about this, it's that Paolo Banchero is someone that will step up to this stage. Honestly, that is probably the most important thing the Magic needed to learn from these playoffs as much as anything. That, yes, we do have a star. No Magic, it's easy to say no Magic player scored that many points since Dwight Howard, but no one scored that many points since 2011 when Dwight Howard dropped 47 on the Hawks. We have a guy that can score, that can create his own shot. But, as Paolo Banchero said after the game, there were decisions that he wished he could take back. There were decisions that he will come to regret or decisions he will need to learn from. 5 turnovers once again, including a really big one where he was along the baseline, missed a pass to the corner and tried to kick back out to the three-point line on the wing. Big turnover, big fast break, big bucket. Or when the Magic were down by 1 and Banchero opted to pull up for 3 from 30 feet out early in the shot clock and missed, allowing the Cavs to get down the court and make it a 3-point game. Or just the decision from Banchero and from Franz Wagner, which, not terrible decisions, but to challenge Evan Mobley. And Evan Mobley stepped up to the plate. As Jamal Mosey said, his block of Franz Wagner with 5 seconds left, the Magic trailing by 2. Franz did a great job getting to the basket, did a great job putting himself in a position to score, and Evan Mobley made a hell of a play. Made a great play. A play that's what close games are about. It's about making plays. The Cavs made the plays down the stretch, whether it was Donovan Mitchell getting to the foul line, whether it was the dump off to Evan Mobley for a dunk that put the Cavs up 4 late in the game. The Cavs made the plays. The Magic were game. And maybe if we played this for another 5 minutes, the Magic, we didn't get to overtime, but if we played another 5 minutes, who knows what would have happened. This was a coin flip game, and there are coin flip games in the playoffs. We've talked about this all year, how the difference between winning and losing is often just a few plays and a few moments, and you have to sit there and look both at what happens in the clutch as well as what's happened throughout the course of the game, and we're going to do all of that today. I would say for as good as Paolo Banchero's shot making was throughout this game and the shots and the plays that he made some bad decisions down the stretch. Mistakes that ultimately cost this team. And it put a lot of pressure on the Magic's defense, and the Magic's defense did good things. It held up. Mitchell missed some key shots down the stretch. The fouling was the only big thing in that fourth quarter, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the Magic's defense was put in a bind where it had to get stops every time down the court, and that's not going to cut it in the playoffs. That's not going to cut it in a Game 5 in a 2-2 series. That's not going to cut it with so much on the line. The Magic were the ones that made the mistakes throughout the game. But they were the ones that made the mistakes when winning time came around. When it was time to put up or shut up, for lack of a better way to phrase it. And now we are in games, and Game 5 is certainly one of them, where it is time to put up or shut up. It's time to step up to the plate. It's time to overcome the adversity of the road and find ways to win. It's time to be smart and make smart decisions even when you're tired, even when you're fatigued, even when that pressure ramps up, both defensive pressure, both game pressure. It's time to step up. Because Joe Ingles is right. This team is not young anymore. They may not have the game experience under their belt. They may not have the experience to call back upon and say, okay, I am comfortable here because I have been here before. But this team has the talent and the ability to win this series. And that should always be the belief. We can sit back in a month as we had analyzed this playoffs and analyzed this series and say, okay, this is what we learned. This is where the team can get better. This is still an incredible season. All of this is gravy. But gravy's the best part. Sorry. But the Magic should believe they can do more. They should believe in their fullest potential. And quite clearly, they are good enough to win this series. Quite clearly, they were good enough to win this game. And to come up short in the way that they did, to come up short because of poor decisions. You can live with making or missing a shot. But because of poor decisions, untimely turnovers, untimely things they can control. I'd rather miss a good shot than a bad shot. I had no problem with Franz Wagner taking that layup. That was a good shot. That was a good play. That's the shot you trust him to make. And then ultimately the Magic do trust Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. So if you want to put the blame on anyone, put the blame on Jamal Mosley. But at this juncture of the season, you got to trust the guys that got you there. And for a first time in the playoffs or first time making these decisions, yeah, the Magic are going to make some mistakes. And yeah, that's looking like it's going to cost them a chance to get to the second round. And that sting and that burn is what's going to drive this team to get there next year, to learn and to get there next year. Because ultimately, you hope you learn from these mistakes. It costs you. It stings. You're penalized for it. But now you got to be better the next time. Now you expect Paolo to know that's not the shot to take. That's not the pass to make. You expect Franz to know, okay, against a shot blocker, I need to protect myself more. Or I need to be willing to stop and hit the floater that he didn't hit in this game, but was hitting really well in games 3 and 4. At the end of the day, the Magic made the mistakes. Cleveland had control. They had the lead. Orlando was the one that missed the shots. And that's why they will face elimination Friday night at the Kia Center. As is always the case of the playoffs, though, every loss really makes you confront your own weaknesses, because as much as we want to break down and talk about those last 2 minutes or those last 3 minutes or whatever, this game was decided and determined much earlier than that. We'll get to the little mistakes that have cost the Magic all year and showed up again in Game 5. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at DoorDash. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for your mom on DoorDash. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. Look, we all have a hard time finding the perfect gift for mom. I've jokingly always given my mom a candle. I was in the airport, passed by the candle store, and really thought hard about it. Probably not the right time or the right gift. So if I'm going to get my mom something special this Mother's Day, I'm going to go to DoorDash and find really anything, whether it's for my mom's sweet tooth, whether it's to help my mom with tech, which she needs a lot of help with, whether it's beauty items, whatever it is. DoorDash has it, and you can pair that with a gift card anywhere she wants so that she can celebrate any way she wants. Shop with savings that would make your mom proud. With the Dash Pass membership, you'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduce service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including a service fee, apply. Terms do apply as well. So get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONNBA, get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend $15+ on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's Locked On NBA. Order using DoorDash today. Terms do apply. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. If I can find it, there it is. It's winner take all time in the NBA. Obviously, Friday at the Kia Center, going to be an intense game. Game 6, Magic need a win to force Game 7, bring us all back to Cleveland for Game 7. And FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Okay, we want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. If you're watching sports all day anyway, you got to check out the Locked On Sports Day 24/7 streaming channel. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming that you might get on the national networks. There's no embrace debate culture here. It's just the best analysis from local reporters that know their team best. Locked On Sports Day brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So, I've said this throughout the course of the year. There's going to be a game that's decided by clutch moment. And undoubtedly, look, I'm going to praise Paolo Banchero on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic, so don't think I'm here burying the dude. We are going to talk how awesome Paolo Banchero was later on in the show, as well as tomorrow on tomorrow's episode. That's we're going to sing his praises and really celebrate how good this guy has looked on the playoff stage, been unafraid and stepped up to the plate for this team. It's been awesome to watch. But, I'm going to kill him for some of his decisions late in the game, because those decisions are, a proximate cause to this team losing a major game. I would have liked a better shot with a minute 30 and a 1-point deficit. Magic didn't need a 3 and certainly didn't need a pull-up 3 with no passing. That Paolo still has a tendency to kind of dance around and dribble, and it was working Tuesday night, but there's still a lot of areas for him to improve. But those aren't the mistakes that Jamal Mosley sat down and pointed out to us as he looked at the box score when he spoke to the media. Those aren't the numbers that he circled on this thing, on the box score. He was looking at numbers that, frankly, feel familiar to the Magic. These playoff losses are big. These playoff losses, they feel heavy. They feel like a lot is going on, and that they force you to look at yourself in the mirror. That's what the playoffs do. It's what we've been looking forward to this year. Because in the playoffs, teams are looking to attack your weaknesses. And whether you can succeed in the playoffs is often based on whether you can overcome them. Whether you can reduce those mistakes, play around those mistakes, find ways to make up ground on these, and hope they don't kill you. The Magic have a lot of weaknesses. This is not a perfect team. This is a very flawed team. We've understood that throughout the course of the year. They're good enough to win the series. Don't get me wrong. Those flaws are not an excuse for them potentially losing the series. They're good enough to beat the Cavs. We should be disappointed if the Magic don't win. Not despondent, not panicked, but this team is good enough. Maybe they're not ready for this, but they're good enough. And, through 5 games, I honestly think we can say the Magic are losing game. The Magic are the ones that determine the series. It's not what Cleveland does, although we're still waiting for Cleveland to have a really good shooting game. They're 13 for 37 from 3. Max Strus finally got going. He made 4 3-pointers, was 4 for 10. Darius Garland got going. He was 3 for 5. Like there were some things in this series that were like, if that clicks on again for Game 6, the Magic it's going to be a fight. And I'm expecting a fight in Game 6. I'm not expecting the same as Games 3 and 4. Friday's going to be a fight. Just like this was a fight when the Magic were blown out and, not blown out, but struggled in Games 1 and 2. But it truly feels like a lot of this series is based on how the Magic perform and how the Magic avoid their missteps. Because a lot of the reasons they lost on Tuesday in Game 5 are things that have cost them all year. Yeah, we could talk about shooting 9 for 31, 29%, but that's not why they lost. They missed a lot of shots. Missed a lot of shots early, especially. Franz Wagner missed shots. Jalen Suggs missed shots. Gary Harris 0 for 2, 0 for 3 again. Another 0 for game for him. They missed a lot of shots. But Coach Mosley will look at the turnovers. 14 turnovers for 17 points. It felt like every time the Magic built momentum, they'd have a turnover and Cleveland would score. And Cleveland would score on every turnover they made. You had 19 fast break points. Cleveland was very intentional about pushing the pace off misses. So those long misses turned into fast breaks. Bad shot selections turned into fast breaks. Turnovers turned into fast breaks. And the Magic had to do a better job getting back and limiting these mistakes. Look, Orlando's turnover rate in this game was 14.9. Their average for the season was 15. But the Magic were 26th in the league in turnover rate. They were not a good turnover team all year long. They committed a lot of turnovers. They forced a lot of turnovers, which they didn't do in this game. 10 turnovers for Cleveland for 8 Orlando points. And Orlando was 1 for 3 on fast breaks for 7 points. So they got to the line at least, but 1 for 3. Like, yeesh. Bad fast breaks. Like, again, points left on the board. And Jamal Mosley has said throughout the course of this series that this series is truly about the possession count. It's truly about finding extra possessions. And whoever wins that possession battle wins. So yes, turnovers, extra possessions given to the Cavs, 14 extra possessions given to the Cavs. Offensive rebounds, only 8 offensive rebounds with Jared Allen out of the game, but Cleveland had 11 second chance points off those 8 offensive rebounds. Orlando just 6 off their 7. Missed opportunities. Extra possessions, you got to take advantage of them. Missed free throws. Magic missed 7 free throws. They're 22 for 29. Cleveland was 15 for 19. So Orlando got to the line, and they shot it decently well. I mean, Paolo was 7 for 8. Franz was 7 for 8. But all those things add up. And 7 missed free throws in a game you lose by 1 and was tight down the stretch, it matters. Additionally, Orlando gave up a lot of free throws. 19 free throws for Cleveland, but 12 of them in the fourth quarter. When the game was tight, when the Magic were building momentum, Donovan Mitchell got to the line 10 times. He was 9 for 10 from the foul line. In the fourth quarter, he scored 14 fourth quarter points for his 28 points. The Magic did a good job on Donovan Mitchell again, but they fouled him. And that's been a problem for the Magic all year. They were 22nd in the league in free throw rate this year for, defensive rate. And so, yes, the late game struggles, the poor decision-making down the stretch, the Magic lost the game because of that. But they also lost the game because several mistakes, several things that had become a problem for this team, that have been areas that this team needed to improve on, also came back to bite the Magic in the end. Also came back to hurt the Magic. And came back to help stake Cleveland's lead. The poor first quarters again. Orlando gave up a 9-2 run in the final 90 seconds of the first quarter to take it from a 3-point deficit to a 10-point deficit. Orlando looked like they were in good shape in that first quarter. They just had to play it close. And then Darius Garland hits 2 threes. Karis LeVert gets a steal in the backcourt, hits a 3. And the Magic are down by 10 and having to climb uphill again. The kind of stuff that can't happen. Look, Orlando has proven to us all year long they have the poise to deal with this. They have the poise to fight back. They have the grit to fight back. They're not a team that's going to quit. That's not who this team is. But these are mistakes that have cost the Magic all year. These are mistakes that have hurt this team all year long. And in Game 5, in the most important game the Magic have played this season, most important game of the year until Friday, all these mistakes that have hurt the team all year long kept tripping them up, kept putting them back down 5, 6, 7 points when they'd gotten it down to 1, instead of helping them expand and extend the lead. I will tell you this. Being in that building, being in Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, every time the Magic made a run, every time the Magic took the lead for however brief it was, and JB Bickerstaff called the timeout, you could feel the tension. Cleveland had all the pressure in this game. Cleveland had all the weight on them to win this game. If they did not win this game, they were not winning Friday. Everything was on them. And look, they played well. They performed And the Magic kept fighting and coming back. They wouldn't go down, and they found their groove. They found the defense. They did all the things that they do well to give themselves a chance to win. But this is a game where a more experienced, a more solid offensive team wins running away. The Magic's mistakes, the same mistakes they've made all year long, kept that door open and allowed Cleveland to walk through and take back control of the series. We're going to get to the box score, go through some individual performances, including Paolo Banchero, coming up here in just a moment. But first, it's time for a quick word from our friends over at Monopoly Go. All right, we're going to take a break here, take a timeout, pause, talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Foul, stop the play. You already talked about that. But there is just so much good stuff in the game. At Monopoly Go, you can team up with friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. And there's so much to get. Like unique stickers you can trade with friends to complete albums for big prizes, cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with, hilarious emojis for taunting your friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton, including their own unique mini games, like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go, so get off the bench and go download it now free on Google Play or the App Store. Game on. Okay, let's run through the final box scores. The Orlando Magic fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers 104-103 in Game 5 of this playoff series. The Magic now facing elimination as they return home to the Kia Center on Friday. Big game, obviously. We'll know the time after Wednesday's Heat Celtics game. So hold off on that. It'll be 7 o'clock if the Celtics win, 8 o'clock if the Heat win, and we'll see if we have to all ship back up here to Cleveland for game number, whatever game number it is, game number 7. That's the game number. Let's start. Let's start at the beginning then. Paolo Banchero, 39 points, 14 for 24 from the floor, 4 for 7 from 3, 7 for 8 from the foul line, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, did have 5 turnovers, but he was awesome. I will criticize him and say he needs to make better decisions late in the game. The shot, he was feeling it. He was hot. He took a heat check 3 at the wrong time to take a heat check 3. He had several kind of heat check shots that just were not good shots, but he was feeling it. I'm not going to begrudge, the one with 90 seconds, I will begrudge him, but I will not begrudge him some of the shots he took because this was Tracy McGrady levels of carrying this offense through a good chunk of the game. He scored 8 points in the third quarter, was really just starting to get into his bag. And you could just tell like, okay, he wants to take every shot and he feels like he can carry this team to the win. And look, that's the kind of attitude you want from your star. That's the kind of thing you want to see from a star player. And that kind of confidence was really, really refreshing to see and just really, really good to see, to know that he can do this more often than not, or that he can do this when the time calls for it, to step up like that in a big game. And look, he's going to have to do it again in game 6. That's the worst part, is now he has to do it again. But this was a star performance, just like game 3 was a star performance, just like game 1 was honestly a really strong performance minus the turnovers. Decision-making is just the thing for Paolo right now. And, sometimes it feels like he's trying to do a little too much. This game, it felt like he was doing just the right amount. But again, decision-making, and that comes with experience. That comes with learning. That comes with going over tape. That comes with watching. That comes with feeling what a game needs. And that's where Paolo's at right now. It's just learning what a game needs. Like Donovan Mitchell knows what a game needs. Like the way he played the end of the game, like he missed some shots. He didn't make all the right plays either, but you felt confident with the decisions he was making, and make or miss, those were fine. You don't mind making or missing shots, but Paolo, some of the decisions he made down the stretch just were not good decisions or not what the team needed. And that's just a feel thing for understanding how to perform under this pressure. The fact that Paolo's already at this stage in the second year is a really good thing. Again, we'll talk more, I think, about him on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. Franz Wagner, though, struggled, and finding scoring throughout the rest of the roster was really difficult. For some reason, the Magic just don't shoot well in that building. It's a miracle this is even a series. But again, home teams have held serve every game this series. So that's definitely a thing. Franz Wagner, 14 points, 3 for 11 shooting, 1 for 6 from 3, 7 for 8 from the foul line, 5 rebounds, 6 assists for him. Again, he found ways to stay involved. A lot of those kind of flip shots and floaters that he was making in games 3 and 4, he just didn't make in this game. I thought he was 1 for 6 from 3, so he's willing to shoot threes, but I thought he did a good job attacking. A lot of times, just Magic were trying to attack Evan Mobley, for better or for worse. And I know that's been an internet thing where there's some people are saying like, oh, the Magic kind of found something against Evan Mobley. He's still a really good defender. Just because the Magic have found a way to attack him and put him in some compromising positions, frankly, doesn't mean he's not difficult still to score on. I think Orlando's done a very good job of getting him downhill, especially getting him on the ball and then attacking him downhill. And when he's backpedaling, he doesn't have the chance to kind of settle up and size you up a little bit and body you up. And so the Magic have been the one initiating contact with him. And I think that's why they've been able to kind of move him around a little bit and get shots off against him. Again, I don't think that means Evan Mobley's a poor defender, but the Magic are a weird team where they have 2 6'10" guys who play like guards, who can attack downhill with some ferocity, with some physicality, with some force, and score over a player like Mobley. And both Franz and Paolo have done a good job attacking him. This game, Mobley was just excellent. He did a great job slowing Franz down, did a great job slowing Franz Wagner down, being a presence around the rim. He finished with, let me get his block number here, finished with 2 blocks, 2 steals, 13 rebounds, 14 points. Probably his best game of the series. Is either this or game 1, but he played a really strong game. And again, I think that's a big reason why the Magic were 15 for 31 in the paint for 30 points in the paint. Even without Jared Allen there, Evan Mobley had a little bit more freer reign in the paint. And I think that honestly helped Cleveland defensively a little bit. They spread the floor a little bit more with Allen out of the game, with Isaac Okoro in the game. Again, Orlando didn't have like kind of 2 bigs in the paint because Mobley was the only center in there. So some things got mixed up. I'm sure one of the things that Locked On Cavs will talk about is, they've struggled to play Mobley and Allen together. They know they have to, but splitting them up is typically been a better thing for them. And the Magic have usually been better attacking Mobley when they're split up than Allen. And again, it's because the Magic know how to use space. But again, I gotta give props to Evan Mobley. He played a really strong game. I don't know if he's I don't know if he's the secondary player that the Cavs ultimately need, but he had a really strong game. You can't say too much bad about him in this one. And it clearly affected Franz Wagner, clearly affected Wendell Carter, 7 points, 3 for 6 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3. He did have 11 rebounds. Again, I think Orlando did a good job on the glass generally. Out-rebounded them 43-39, but again, the 8 to 7 offensive rebounds was big just for the margins that you have to play in this game. I think generally the Magic did good rebounding, but some timely rebounds really hurt them. The Magic, again, got nothing from their guards, though, or very little from their guards. 13 total points, all of them from Jalen Suggs. He was 5 for 14, 0 for 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the foul line, 5 rebounds for him. Look, Suggs was fine. Really great defense on Donovan Mitchell. The Magic just generally, I thought, played really good defense on Donovan Mitchell. Jonathan Isaac took a turn on him. The size bothers him. The physicality bothers him. Orlando's found a formula for Donovan Mitchell. And again, I think the big reason Cleveland won this game is Darius Garland showed up. For the first time all series, Darius Garland showed up. He had 17 of his 23 points in the first quarter, but that set the tone for the game and showed that Cleveland could get downhill against this Magic team. They were not as sharp defensively overall as they had been in games 3 and 4. But Suggs missing his shots just hurts. Like, they need him to make threes. He's going to get some open threes. Teams are going to play off him. He's got to make shots. Just it's a simple thing. Again, I hate to say it. This game did not come down to making or missing shots. It did not come down to the 3-point shooting, but 3-point shooting would have helped. And again, every little thing can flip the series, can flip the game. And in a close game like this, every little thing matters. And so, it's been clear this series how badly the Magic needs some consistency from their guards, and frankly, an ability to attack downhill. They're essentially just both spot-up shooters at this point. It's been abundantly clear, and that's what the playoffs are supposed to show you. It hurt them in this game. The Magic's guards are playing better at home than they are on the road. And again, the Magic can win all they want at the Kia Center. They absolutely can. But they got to win one. They got to win one here. They got to win one at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse if they want to win this series. And they only have one more opportunity to do that, and that's going to be Sunday if it comes to that. The Magic's bench played okay, I would say. Really bad in the second quarter, but much better in the fourth. Mo Wagner, only 8 points, was not much of a factor in this game. Markel Fultz, 7 points, another really nice game from him. Did a good job kind of finding pockets and looking to attack the low post. Orlando did a good job putting him in spaces where he can be aggressive and can look to score. Didn't spot him up at the three-point line very much where he's going to be ignored, but cutting him along the baseline, getting the ball to him in the post, that's a place where he can score. And he's really comfortable. And I thought he did a good job. Probably better defensively than he has been in the series, but really good job from him. Jonathan Isaac, 7 points, 3 for 5 shooting. Had a big three in this game too. And Joe Ingles, 6 points, 2 for 5 shooting. Played 2 for 3 from 3. Really big shot making in the early fourth quarter. Orlando was down by 5 entering the fourth. When they brought Paolo and Franz back in, they were back down 1. That starting group, that first 2-3 minutes of the fourth quarter, won their minutes, really held their own. Maybe Mosley stuck with them a tick too long because Donovan Mitchell hit a 3, and that prompted a timeout to get the starters back in. So I think Mosley learned there, but they did their job. They gave the Magic a chance to win, and that's all you can ask for from the bench. Orlando shoots 46.2% from the floor overall. That's better than Cleveland. Cleveland shot 43.2%. But again, extra possessions. They get 2 more field goal attempts, 10 more field goal attempts, 2 more field goal makes. That's your difference. Like, again, it's a possession game. So you have offensive rebounds, turnovers. Those just hurt you in a game like this where you're trying to make up ground, where you're playing from behind and you're trying to win, and it's a close game. So Orlando gave Cleveland a little bit of a lifeline. Cleveland took it. Cleveland's back in control of the series, and we'll see what has to happen. We'll see what has to happen when we get to Cleveland, when we get to Game 6 on Friday. That's the plain truth of it. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Go find me on Twitter at @PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, search your TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all of them are selling podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can follow us on Twitter at @OMagicDaily. And of course, check out my Patreon page for even more Magic content at patreon.com/OrlandoMagicHub. That's going to do it for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. For Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.